And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Deits and Stevens All Out Sports Show here on Spreaker.com, a part of the National Sports Radio Station. And here, along with me, is the co-host of the Deits and Stevens All Out Sports Show, is Robert Dieters. Welcome, Robert. It's our third show together. Robert, I'm enjoying this experience with you, and just give me some great words of wisdom.
Well, I think we've been doing great so far. With hopefully our third one is the best. We've been trying to push it. I hope you fans love us. We hope that you like us a lot, and we're gonna be talking about some NFL, NBA, and MLB like we always do, and we're also gonna do some college football
Yes, we
as
are.
well. So we're doing everything here, and we actually have a guest speaker. We're gonna talk about the bounty hunt for the Saints.
The appeal has been won by the players, so they are now eligible to play in week one this week. And ladies and gentlemen, here on the show now is the NFL analyst here for National Sports. It is Nick Rice on the phone with us, talking to us about what is going on in this case, really what's been happening all day. Nick, welcome to All Out Sports.
Hey guys, and welcome. Thank you for having me on the show. And I have to admit, I am a big fan of your show. You guys have great content for every week, and you guys are really good at getting everything around sports in general. And I want to thank you for just being. We obviously have some big news for New Orleans. It's tremendous, and for this bounty scandal. I mean, just being a fan of the NFL, I could not be more happy that Roger Goodell finally was able to come to some sort of an agreement with these players. I mean, with so many things throughout the entire offseason that Goodell, I feel, has done wrong to hurt the National Football League. Finally, it's one of those things. These players that have had very little to do with this sort of bounty scandal, you may say, they're finally released from their suspension, and now they'll be playing week one. Honestly, just as a fan, I'm really excited to see these guys finally back on the field.
I agree with you. I think that it's the coach's fault. I think it's Sean Payton's fault for even letting this happen, especially for this type of thing involving money, involving serious injuries. And there was a SI report about they're really putting out a point for retired NFL players who have serious problems in health wise, and it's been an issue for a very long time, for the last few years, that retired players will have problems like Alzheimer's and short-term memory loss. So I agree with Nick, but it's not the players' fault. I think the coaches, they should know that that's not right. Robert.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, it isn't the players' fault. They got paid to do it. It's the coaches that paid them. And at this point, the players deserve to be back on that field, and I'm glad that they're all back for the Saints, and they're going to have a really good season now.
And
Guys, I just want to add to your point. I mean, I do agree that this medical issue has been a problem for the NFL ever since it started. But I feel like there's different ways in order to solve that issue. Now, I did read a report just earlier on this week that NFL players are 3 times more likely to suffer some sort of brain injury in the latter portions of their life. And honestly, it's very concerning, but there's different ways, unlike suspending 4 specific players of a football team, of an entire league, just 4 different guys, suspending those guys, punishing them when there's plenty of blame to go around. I mean, instead of using money in places where, NFL owners really should not be putting their money in, maybe use that money to perhaps improve the equipment. Now, they've made quote-unquote strides, but for this entire league, I mean, what it is going to save this kind of this sport in the long run is improving the injury department, and I think the NFL has made strides, but obviously they've kind of taken a step backwards by punishing these guys that really have had nothing to do with it. Players are taught to follow in the coach's footsteps. So in order to blame just specific players of one football team for one of these, mindsets going into every week on the defensive side especially, you want to be able to beat your opponent any way possible. these four players obviously are not the only ones to blame, and honestly, they were blamed too harshly at that. And for only the head man of the Saints to be penalized and penalized an entire season, I feel like just the Saints and the entire NFL obviously was not punished the right way. That's my opinion.
I have a question, Nick. There are four players involved in the suspending, involved with the scandal. It was Jonathan Vilma, Scott Fujita, Will Smith, and Anthony Hargrove. Three of those players are currently on an NFL team. Vilma and Smith are on the Saints. Fujita has signed a deal, I think it was during the offseason, for the Browns. And which, since the suspensions have been overturned and they're playing in Week 1, who do you think is going to have a more impact on their team, Vilma, Fujita, or Smith?
Well, it's interesting. All of these guys, especially in the Super Bowl run back in 2008 or 9, I believe, for the Saints, one of those guys that week in and week out was highly dependable, and I feel like right off the bat will be able to perform on their football team. I guess reportedly with the Browns to stop Fujita. He was one of those hard-working guys that was team first before himself. Now, Scott Fujita was one of those starting linebackers that got it done in the trenches, but not really well heralded. I mean, it was all about Jonathan Vilma in this defense, but Fujita did his part in clogging up those holes up the middle. So I feel like Fujita might not get the recognition he deserves after another solid year, I believe, now with the Browns. And he's also going to be on that two-headed tandem with DeQuell Jackson over there in Cleveland. I feel like it's Fujita's year to have a breakout season now for the Browns.
So this is a really big. This is a good thing for the Saints. This is a great thing for the Saints.
Yeah, this is no doubt one of the greatest things for the Saints.
Then you got the free agent Anthony Hargrove. That is now a free. That's not a free agent. That was a part of the suspensions too. Robert, I think, in my opinion, I think it's gonna be Jonathan Vilma. I think he's gonna have a little bit. I think he's gonna have more of a warmer heart since everything has just happened during the off season. And what do you think? Who's gonna have the better season? Who's gonna bounce back from this better? Vilma, Fujita, or Will Smith?
I have to go Vilma because he's really good defensively. I like him as a player. He's really good for the Saints, and I think he's just going to make the biggest impact coming off this. And I bet everyone's happy after this. Vilma's going to be happy that he finally gets to go back and play after what happened with that whole bounty scandal. And it's not the player's fault, as I said before. It should never be. It should be the coach's fault, and they should be the ones suspended for it.
All right. And Nick, we have one more topic to talk to you about. Adrian Peterson. There's a lot of questions about is he gonna play this week or not. He's now at a game time decision. Is this true? Is this gonna be a game time decision, or a day before on Saturday? Will the Vikings take him out because it looks like he's injured and he's obviously injured, but we don't. There's a lot of people are saying he's gonna play. A lot of people are gonna say he's not gonna play. What do you think?
Well, for the Vikings, this is obviously very concerning because for this Minnesota offense, it revolves around Adrian Peterson, and we've had health issues with this running back before. I mean, he's had so much time off the field, and he's a tremendous player when he can actually stay on the field and is healthy. But Toby Gerhart is now providing that second running back option that the Vikings finally have, where we don't need to finally have Adrian Peterson touch the ball 20, 30 times. Toby Gerhart, a tremendous preseason. I feel like for the Vikings, for the first time, they may not rush to put Peterson back on the field, especially because the long-term impact of Peterson means a lot more for this organization than just playing in one game, especially when they have another running back in Gerhart that can get it done. I feel like for the Vikings, they might want to give Peterson as few touches as possible, and if he's a game-time decision now, I feel like no improvement in 3 days really can help Peterson touch the ball in this game. I feel like Peterson will be out, but obviously it's the medical staff that's concerned with that.
I have a question here, Nick, and will Toby Gerhart do good for the Minnesota Vikings? Because I know Chris Ponder hasn't been one of the greatest QBs, but that running game has developed a lot for Minnesota. Do you think Toby Gerhart will make a big difference for the Vikings because of Peterson is a game time decision? Do you think he'll do good?
For Gerhart, I feel like he'll do good based on what he's done in his career. He's been on the bench more often than making big plays on the field. But for Gerhart, I feel like as long as he doesn't get the majority of the carries, if Peterson gets those carries, and Gerhart's one of those relief backs, one of those underrated portions of the NFL to go along with the running game is just having that 1-2 punch. The Giants are tremendous at having that 1-2 punch. They've won a few Super Bowls with Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs, as we remember, against the Patriots. So for the Vikings to have a 1-2 punch, if Gerhart can provide like he's done in the preseason, I feel like they'll have a very good shot at perhaps reaching a 5-yard a carry type of season. Obviously, the Vikings are nowhere near the playoffs this year, maybe in the next few seasons, but for Gerhart, I feel like he should have one heck of a year, even with Peterson if he gets healthy and stays on the field.
All right, Nick, and we're just going to be wrapping up your time here soon. We've been loving your appearance here on the show. Last part, predictions, week 1, a lot of big news. I want to give you just 3 games off the top of my head that I want you to predict. First game is going to be the Colts and the Bears. It'll be the debut of Andrew Luck. Does Luck give the Colts a win? And give me your prediction.
For this matchup, I feel like it's about as one-sided as a game can possibly be on opening weekend. I feel like the Chicago Bears will run away with this one. They ran away with it opening week last year when the Chicago Bears played in Indianapolis on Sunday night. I feel like for the Bears, it's one of those years where coming off a disappointing end, it's now time for Chicago to provide the sort of spark that they really need to have on offense. They brought in Brandon Marshall. They now have a high-powered offense. Jay Cutler, another year at quarterback. He's turning into one of those veterans that can provide for his team. And now they have Matt Forte, a 5-year veteran. He needs to get it done this year. I feel like for Chicago, right off the bat, they need a strong beginning, and it starts with a Week 1 victory against, let's face it, guys, a rookie quarterback and an average at best defense. So obviously, I feel extremely undermatched. Chicago runs away with this one.
And I also have another prediction. This is one of the biggest games, I think, for the NFL this season, is the Niners and Packers.
It's really nice to, on an opening week. Unfortunately, it's not a night game because this matchup is one of those marquee games that, unfortunately, we don't have more of in the National Football League. But just one of those games, I will certainly be tuned into this one. Obviously, Robert, I know that you're going to be, all eyes and ears on this matchup. I feel like for these two teams, they match up very well. Obviously, the defense can match up with Green Bay all day, and then you have Aaron Rodgers against that high-powered defensive unit. And then on the other side of the ball, can Alex Smith beat that up-and-coming Green Bay defense that is getting old in the secondary? Mind you, Charles Woodson not even playing corner anymore, switched to safety. Just matching up this game, it may come down to special teams. And Robert, your team is especially good in the special teams department. Obviously, both